Hello, and welcome to my Tyrian Saga, Heroes of Itona, Minimum Recruitment, Low Turn Count Playthrough, Chapter 2. Between Chapter 1 and 2, the game forced me to recruit 1 out of 4 possible characters in Verge. None of these characters can leave the party afterwards or force someone else to leave, so I am free to pick whoever I want. As usual, the only real choice are between Naron the Rook Knight and Lee the Bishop, and I pick Naron for a practical turn save in the next chapter. If not for this turn save, Lee could have been a great option, as I will have for this LTC a very limited amount of tome and stave users. Naron is most notably known for the insane bonus he gets when he promotes, and getting him to level 10 will be one of my short-term goals. Unlike Sasha, he can do fine on his own, and doesn't necessarily need any form of babysitting, although he will get some in this chapter, as most of the enemies he will face are aiming for the houses and will ignore him. Before this chapter, I also got 2 new units, Raffine and Esther. Raffine is an incredible unit with great base stat, growth, and 8 movement, as well as good option for indoor maps, unlike every other mount unit in this game. He will have to do most of the important stuff for the first few chapters, at least until other units start to catch up to his prowess. The second unit is Esther, who I didn't deploy in this chapter. She is a mediocre cavalier, with base stats worse than Arquis and Chryse. Her one redeeming quality is that she gives an 8% support to Raffine, while receiving 15% from him. Now is a good time to explain how supports work in this game. A unit can give or receive bonuses from another one if one has a support with the other, and they are 3 tiles away or less from each other. These bonuses are a fixed value increase to hit, avoid, critical, and critical dodge, and are not necessarily symmetrical between the 2 units. The support between 2 units is either present from the beginning, or can be increased via special events during the game, and is usually linked to the character's background story. In this example, Raffine is Esther's adopted brother. The support can give up to 15% bonuses between 2 units. While it may not seem to be much, the increase in reliability is significant in the long run, especially with how the RNG works in this game. Similar to modern Fire Emblem games, the traits displayed in a battle aren't the real odds used by the game. Instead, the calculations make it so that the attack is more likely than expected to connect the closer it is to 100% accuracy, and less likely than expected to connect the closer it is to 0% accuracy. It is a less extreme version of the tolerance system of modern Fire Emblem games, as you can still realistically miss a near 100% accuracy attack and vice versa. To give you the most extreme examples, a 7% accuracy attack will in reality only hit 1% of the time, and a 95% accuracy attack will hit 99% of the time. One major difference with modern Fire Emblem games is that all of this also applies to critical hits, which is usually more detrimental to player units than enemy ones. Back to chapter 2, I still need to talk about 3 new units who are recruited at the start of the chapter. South of the starting position is Julia, a Myrmidon with decent stat, usually overshadowed by Vega, who can be recruited 2 chapters later. However, the latter isn't a mandatory recruitment, and therefore will be skipped, so Julia will be one of the prime indoor units of this run. Naron still takes priority over her, so in this chapter she will mostly help him by weakening the bandit first. Meanwhile, Barnes the fighter and Ante the sister start at the northwest side of the map. Ante is your typical staff user, of which I will have very few in this run. I would like for her to reach a mastery stat of 14 at some point, which shouldn't be too hard given our base stat of 7 and our 50% growth rate. She joins with the save staff, which will allow me to save the game at any moment in a battle at the cost of her turn action. This staff has 18 uses, and I will make full use of it throughout the game for various luck-related purposes. Finally, Bards could have been a decent alternative to Julia, but ultimately she was preferred to him for multiple reasons, most notably the lower accuracy of axes. He's not a bad unit, but I won't have any time to train him in addition to my other priorities. With all that said, let's focus on the gameplay. This chapter is a Sith map, and Runan can reach the throne in 8 turns if he uses full movement every turn. This is the only LTC category where this chapter will actually be complete in 8 turns, because every other one will spend one more turn for Bards to reach one of the house and recruit Plume, the dancer of this game. While not having a dancer is always a bad thing for an LTC, the impact for this one will be limited, as she usually only saves one turn per chapter she is deployed in, due to the lack of rescue drop mechanic. As a result of this, I could only get an angelic potion from the village, which increased the unit's maximum HP by 5. Rafid can easily get rid of the generic enemies in Runan's way, and Entei can even heal him if necessary. The only slightly problematic enemy is the boss, but Rafin is almost guaranteed to kill him after 3 rounds of combat with his killer lance. Since this chapter is relatively easy to complete in 8 turns, I didn't have to use the save staff, and my only goal was to get decent level ups for Rafin and Neron. That's all I have to say about this chapter 2, complete in 8 turns. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.